Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And we see that, as you guys know, this Zion Williamson has been making the news now, right? Now, big media is beginning to discuss him, but in terms of him being potentially traded or moved by the NBA draft or something like that, that's what people are talking about. I can't remember exactly what, but now that's starting to circulate in the news. But prior to them discussing this, Zion Williamson had been making the news for all the wrong reasons. As you guys know, Zion has been sidelined, at least in the beginning initially, because of an injury, but then we later found out that he had recovered, but then he said he wasn't in the mental space to play basketball. And then reports came out that he basically went out there and said that he's expecting a child with a young lady. They posted this on social media. Subsequently, after posting that, all hell broke loose. A lady that he was connected to basically went on a tirade, right? Went on a tirade about how Zion basically betrayed her. Then that started, and another lady came out. But then this particular lady that came out on social media, the first day she ranted. The second day she ranted. By the third day, some of us were like, okay, what's going on here? Right, and credit to Too Raw for TV or Too Raw for Sports. He brought up the point where he was like, you know, this is beginning to cross the line. This is beginning to cross the line, and it's starting to look like bullying. And we produced a show around this 2 days ago where I said that I was noticing the flagrant double standard that exists in society, which was if Zion Williamson was a 22, 23-year-old WNBA player, and she was being harassed online by a 31, 32-year-old adult star, everyone would have been coming to her defense, and they would have been calling what he was doing bullying and harassment. But in the case of Zion Williamson, no one was saying anything, not a mumbling word about it. So today on ESPN First Take, they were talking about a bunch of things. There was Kendrick Perkins and Jay Williams. They were filling in for Stephen A. Smith. And then they got to the subject of Zion Williamson. Kendrick Perkins spoke first. And then when it was time for Jay Williams to speak, he finally brought up what a lot of us have been thinking about the Zion situation. So for those of you who missed Jay Williams' comments, what we want to do is we want to play them for you now, and then we'll come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
And all of a sudden, we're hearing about the Pelicans possibly are wanting to move on from Zion. It's no coincidence. They've been on social media. We all have. We've been seeing all the reports and all the rumors and everything that's been going on for Zion and the NBA lifestyle that he couldn't adjust to or couldn't say no to. So if I'm the Pelicans with the young group of guys that I have in place, I have a nice culture. I have a nice coach in Willie Green. I have a veteran in CJ McCollum. I would not jeopardize that for Zion Williamson. And I know he's a generational talent, but he's a generational talent that we can't trust.
First off, Perk, let me say, if I was Zion, I would get some kind of restraining order. First off, you ain't gonna be saying all that stuff about me in public. Like, I'm done. All I'm going to say, and I'll leave that to be that, because that does not need to be out there. Number two, what I will also say is that you are right. There are challenges that come along with Zion Williamson and the fact that he has weight issues. One of the issues with that, though, is the way that when Zion Williamson came into the New Orleans team, they acquiesced. They gave him way too much clout for a guy who was a rookie. You've seen David Griffin and company try to retract and bring that back and set a standard. The reality, and I've heard this from multiple people around the organization, is that people don't question whether Zion Williamson loves the game of basketball. Sometimes they question whether he's in love with the process that comes with being great. We heard Kobe Bryant and other players, Michael Jordan, loved the process, the work that goes into being great.
So you heard what Jay Williams had to say. First of all, bravo to Jay Williams. Because finally someone on a major platform has said what a lot of us have been thinking. Why don't you get a restraining order? Because this is clearly harassment. As a matter of fact, before we even produced this show, I went online to check on her Twitter page to see if she was talking about Zion Williamson. And of course, within the last 24 hours, she's still out there talking about Zion. which to me is unbelievable. Let me state my original opinion on this that I said in the show before. I want to reiterate it here. This has absolutely nothing to do with love. There's no love involved here whatsoever. No love. Number one. Number two, there have been situations in the past, many, where two people have gotten together. They've had a child. It didn't work out. And they were able to go their own ways amicably. And it then turned into this mudslinging. It happens every day. It just comes down to the character of the people involved. In the case of this lady, at first you made your point. Okay, we got it. We understand you're upset. But then you start revealing text messages. You start posting personal information online. You start making crazy accusations and stuff about this guy. I mean, very, very serious stuff that I will not repeat. And then on top of that, you start even trying to involve his basketball team by tagging him and his team. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do the New Orleans Pelicans have to do with you and Zion's situation? Absolutely nothing. And to me, it looks like one big shakedown. I said it in the other show, and I'm going to say it again. What serious 31, 32-year-old woman with a job that has her own quote-unquote money is running after a 22, 23-year-old boy? Show me the woman. Most women that I've spoken to usually like to date men older than them. So what woman in their right mind is running after a 22, 23-year-old? It rarely happens. In this case, Zion is a 22, 23-year-old NBA player worth tens of millions of dollars. So this has absolutely nothing to do with love. Because if it was love, is this how you behave? Is this how you behave? You start posting and broadcasting this stuff all over the internet? What kind of love is that? And to me, I think it's time more people start calling this out. This is harassment. And I definitely agree with Jay Williams. Get a order restraint or whatever it is. So this person can basically stop going out there and slandering me. Number one. Number two, what's this negative thing that Zion Williamson said about this lady? That she feels is strongly to go out there and start slandering this guy. This is bullying. And we got to call it like it is. She's basically getting away with it scot-free and no one wants to say anything. This is why when there are other situations involving gender and all, don't bring him to, I'm not interested in talking to him because for whatever reason, no one has the energy to keep it the same. Whenever it's something that men do wrong, all of a sudden we want to have a think tank and we want to have a round table and talk about it. But when it's done in the opposite direction, no one wants to talk about it. Don't involve me. I don't want to be a part of it. If it ever happens in society, you will not see me talking about it. Whatsoever. You will not see me. Look at Paul George. I mentioned this a few years ago. Paul George, when he was in the Orlando bubble, and he was talking about he was dealing with some mental stuff. People were laughing at him. Oh, you got to toughen up. You got to toughen up. Come on, Paul George, how you going to say that? But when the Olympian, when she said she was going through some mental stuff, oh my God, this is profound. The pressure. Oh my God, this is so profound. So Paul George gets laughed at. But when she oh wow, man, can you imagine the pressure she was under? But when he brought her, man, what you talking about? Walk it off. What kind of pressure you talk? Walk it off. I am so happy that Jay Williams said this, and I hope others follow suit. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. We catch you on the next show.